question. Deputy Aylward has given permission to Deputy Smith to take his question. Is everybody agreed on that? 30 seconds to introduce.
Minister for Communications, Climate Action and Environment, the progress made in implementing the recommendations of Report 2 on the future and reform of the Post Office network, and if he will make a statement on the same.
Minister.
As Minister for Communications, Climate Action and Environment, I have responsibility for the postal sector, including the governance of An Post, to ensure the company is fully compliant with the Code of Practice governance of state bodies and the governance functions included in the statutory framework underpinning An Post. Operational matters and the role of developing commercial strategies for the post office network are a matter for the board and the management of An Post, and not one which I, as Minister, have statutory function. Consequently, measures to maintain, enhance and diversify the post office network are a matter for An Post. The Post Office Network Business Development Group was established at the end of 2014 by the then Minister for Communications, Energy and Natural Resources to explore the potential for commercial and additional government services which would be transacted through the Post Office network. In fact, I am one of the 5 members of the House at the time that actually made a submission to that group. Following publication of the final report of this group in January of 2016, 2 working groups were established to progress the recommendations of the report. One, the Network Renewal Implementation Group, chaired by Mr Bobby Kerr, and 2, the Post Office Hub Working Group, chaired by Minister Michael Ring. On foot of the reconfiguration of government departments in July of last year, responsibility for the Post Office network transferred to the Minister for Arts, Heritage, Regional, Rural and Gaeltacht Affairs. The department published the final report of the of the Post Office Hub Working Group in March, in which it was outlined that they are pursuing the possible opportunities for services such as community banking and motor tax renewal for the network. Arrangements are in hand to reassign responsibility for the Post Office network to my department, given my overall responsibility for An Post. The recommendations of the Post Office Hub Working Group will continue to be finalised between both departments. In relation to the Network Renewal Implementation Group report, this is undertaken by Mr Bobby Kerr for An Post, and I understand that this is under consideration by An Post. It is government policy that An Post to remain a strong, viable company in a position to provide a high-quality nationwide postal service, that it maintains a nationwide customer-focused network of post offices in the community.
I think it's not the first time you have to give that answer today, but you have a minute.
Might be the last.
Well, thank you very much, Minister. As you know, I come from a very rural constituency in Cavan Monaghan, where the post office is an integral part of the cultural and social fabric of the constituency. And recently we had a public meeting, and just to give you sort of a feel for how people are that concerned about it, we had over 150 people attending those public meetings in a small town like Shercock, which borders both Cavan and Monaghan. Community banking and additional services is obviously of the utmost importance to see that happening in our post office, to make them more viable, to make them more sustainable, and to give. It was actually very interesting at that public meeting just to see the demographic attending that. We have to make our post offices, they actually function for our young people as well as the older people in our rural communities and in society. And I'm just wondering how you are going to address that. Obviously, the postmasters and postmistresses are very anxious about it too. They feel they're up against unfair competition when it comes to private courier services, and that they can deliver a service that the post office really their hands are behind their back in terms of how they are restricted in delivering the same type of efficient services. And I'm just wondering, have you any proposals? And can I just say, to not go on too long, broadband, and I know you spoke about it earlier too. I mean, for our post offices to survive, they have to have broadband to be able to deliver that service.
After question time, you might go to your colleague Deputy Dooley and you can tell him that within the next 77 weeks, 97% of all post offices in the country will have direct access to high-speed broadband. I think we have 30 post offices that won't, and we can look at options in relation to those. I'm sure Deputy Dooley will be delighted to hear that. Look, I know there's concern out there in relation to this, and I think people see digital as a threat to the post office network. I see it as an enabler, and the one way we can actually bring business into our post office network. And like no more than myself, Deputy Smith, other than older people young people and younger people don't go into the post office that often. We go in at Christmas to buy stamps, and we go in during the summer maybe to go and either get the foreign exchange facilities or the passport facilities. So what can we do to encourage people to use the post office more? And I think having access to broadband provides us with opportunities in relation to parcel services, and I disagree with you. I think there is an opportunity to actually provide a very cost-effective service, because it doesn't cost anything additional for An Post to send a parcel from the GPO in Dublin to Cahersiveen, because it has a network of vans right across this country doing that under the universal service obligation already.
In terms of keeping our post office in our area, if they don't have that basic service, and they're both under your remit, and that is of broadband, again, it's very difficult for them to survive. And you did talk about bringing in younger people and providing extra service, and I agree with you on that. But there has to be the broadband. Can I just give you an example of something that just happened coincidentally today in my own constituency? A small factory, Flare Share Limited, where they cannot access broadband. Now, they have the potential to employ 40 people in the local area, and they've had to move to Kingscourt out of Ballybor. That's wonderful for Kingscourt, and it's wonderful for the county. However, they're established, they have the building, they have everything else in place, but they can't provide the broadband. Therefore, we're actually going to lose the jobs out of the town as a result of that. And I do have a parliamentary question in on that today, and I look forward to your response to see that there's something done to enable factories and small companies like that, along with our post offices, to stay in the area. It's dreadful to see them having to leave because they haven't got the basic. It's like, to me, not having broadband is like not having electricity.
That's why I'm determined to ensure that we roll out high-speed broadband across this country. We're rolling out high-speed broadband, which is fibre, real fibre, to doors, at a rate of passing one door every minute of every working day at the moment. And my intention is to continue that momentum until every single premises in Ireland has that. I would say, in relation to that specific issue that you raise, I would actively encourage you to make direct contact with your local broadband officer in the local authority to see if there are options, because there are options available, and I would encourage people to look at those options. I gave an example here to Deputy Daly a couple of minutes ago, but I think what we need to do in relation to the post offices and An Post is we need to build on the strengths. And the strengths are, one, the brand recognition that it has. Two, it's trusted by the public. Three, it has a nationwide network through the post offices across the country. And four, it is a van passing every door in this country 5 days a week. And the frustrating thing about it is that I think in the past, that has not been exploited, and I think, in fairness to David McRedmond as the Chief Executive, I think he gets it, and he gets the opportunities there. And we've seen already a pilot now taking place down the road from Deputy Murphy, where we're actually looking at using those vans to bring other services out into rural areas.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your cooperation. We're going to move to 63 in the name of Deputy John Curran. Thank you, Deputy. Now, the next